Straight ahead on Law&Crime Daily. It's week 6 of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard.
In actuality, he's causing his own demise by bringing these lawsuits forward and continuing to kind of ignite the fire of negative publicity around both of them.
How experts say this lawsuit has affected Depp's career. And an expert witness gets argumentative on cross-examination.
If you want the jury to believe that expert witnesses are unethical, then I guess that's for them to decide.
Yes
that's
or no,
for them
sir.
to
You
decide.
said no.
Plus, does Depp's finger injury match up with his story?
Did Mr. Depp's finger injury happen as a result of a vodka bottle being thrown at him?
No.
Hear the expert testimony. And later,
we can't ignore the beautiful chemistry her and Johnny have together in the courtroom.
who is Johnny Depp's attorney, Camille Vasquez? Law&Crime Daily covering court cases from coast to coast. Welcome everyone to Law&Crime Daily. I'm your host, Brian Buckmeyer. As week 6 begins in the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard defamation trial, Heard's team calls a series of expert witnesses to the stand. Law&Crime Network correspondent Jesse Weber is live at the Fairfax County Courthouse in Virginia with the key takeaways of Monday's testimony. Jesse?
Yeah, Brian, today was very much about Heard's side hammering away at Johnny Depp from a number of different angles. You know, the day started with the testimony of orthopedic surgeon Dr. Richard Moore, and he was of the opinion that the injury to Johnny Depp's finger was not consistent with Depp's account, namely that Heard threw a vodka bottle at him that shattered while in Australia in 2015. But then again, on cross-examination, he couldn't really say how Depp injured his finger, and he admitted he didn't consider certain photographic evidence in his analysis. From there, psychiatrist Dr. David Spiegel took the stand, and his conclusion was that Depp exhibited behavior consistent with substance abuse disorder and that of a perpetrator of intimate partner violence. He talked about Depp's cognitive deficits, narcissism, harmful patterns. But I will say on cross-examination by Depp's attorney, it was a bit tense and even a bit comical, especially when he defended his criticism of Depp using an earpiece on movie sets, because when he was asked if actor Marlon Brando used an earpiece, he responded, "Isn't he dead?" Now, I'm not sure that really was the point there. But from there, we moved on to entertainment consultant Catherine Arnold, who testified about the downfall of Depp's career. An important point, because Heard was argued that it wasn't her Washington Post article that ruined his career and reputation, but Johnny Depp himself.
What, if any, impact did Ms. Heard's op-ed have on whether Mr. Depp could claim a loss for Pirate 6?
Zero.
Okay. And why do you say that?
Again, well, many things. The movie doesn't exist yet, so that's one. But even as important is that Disney, in their file for this trial, did not have the op-ed piece as part of all of the information they had read and looked about and discussed. The conversations of Mr. Depp not being in whatever new version of Pirates, the franchise that goes forward, those were in discussions long before the op-ed piece even came out. And there are other factors that Disney was considering: the lateness on set, the cost overruns that costs, which can go from hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars when you have crews sitting around for 2 to 4 hours, 8 hours, or even several weeks to a month when the finger incident happened. So on top of that, Mr. Depp is an expensive actor. He can earn between $20 and $25 million per movie plus back end. So it's very expensive. So when you put that all together, the rising cost of Mr. Depp's talent, the challenges that they had to keep it on budget because of his lateness and his tardiness, and all the other allegations that would affect a brand such as Disney, right? Someone talks about a burnt corpse, does not necessarily coincide with the brand of Disney.
Now, we've also learned that Amber Heard will no longer be calling Johnny Depp as a witness for her side, but we also learned in a change of events that Kate Moss will take the stand and testify for Johnny Depp's side. Brian?
Now, Jesse, you just said it there. We're not going to hear Johnny Depp back on the stand again, but what did you make of these witnesses that we thought were leading up to Johnny Depp taking the stand? They seem to be doing a lot of pointing the finger at him, both in his career and his mental health status.
Yeah, remember, this is the last week of the presentation of evidence, so they're trying to show that Johnny Depp is not telling the truth to the jury, that he had wild, erratic behavior, and he was an abuser to Amber Heard. All important points, and also that he destroyed his own career, all trying to defeat his claim in this last week.
Yeah. Now, Jesse, we've already heard witnesses testify about damages to both parties. What does Catherine Arnold bring to the table that we didn't hear before?
So she did two things. She really articulated what exactly Johnny Depp lost as a result of the Washington Post article, which according to her was really not what he's claiming. And number two, she also articulated what Amber Heard lost. I mean, she said due to Johnny Depp's statements through Adam Waldman that make up the counterclaims, Amber Heard lost $45 to $50 million. So again, we're trying to understand how is she getting to that $100 million counterclaim. That's what Arnold did for her.
Yeah, but she was comparing, and I know this is a side note, she was comparing Amber Heard to Zendaya, Disney to Marvel. I'm not sure if I'm following that, but go for it. But Kate Moss, she's supposed to testify. How's that going to affect this case?
Okay, other than this being a huge headline, remember Amber Heard opened the door by making a reference to Kate Moss and the infamous staircase incident that Johnny Depp allegedly threw Kate Moss down a flight of stairs. She's going to take the stand. We understand that she's a close friend of Johnny Depp and probably say that is a complete falsehood, that he never did that to her, and that is going to be detrimental to Amber Heard's case that Johnny Depp is an abuser across his life.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting summation, putting all these pieces together. Jesse, stick right with us. We're going to be back with you in a few seconds. Still ahead on Law and Crime Daily, did Depp display warning signs of intimate partner violence? What those signs were and why an expert witness got tense when questioned by Depp's attorneys. Welcome back to Law and Crime Daily. After some contention at the start of his testimony, Dr. David Spiegel told jurors Johnny Depp has narcissistic personality traits and the warning signs for a perpetrator of intimate partner violence.
After it was all said and done, that he would apologize for letting this monster out, letting this anger out, almost routinely. And there's very well record evidence of that starting as early on in the marriage. And the other part of this is, again, when you can recognize that when you're sober, even short-lived sobriety, when you could recognize that things are better, things are happening better, life is better, then even that should show you that, hey, there's an issue here. There are issues here that when I don't use can be resolved.
On cross, Dr. Spiegel became argumentative with Depp's attorneys about the ethics of being an expert witness.
I asked you whether, under this rubric, under this principle of medical ethics, have you acted unethically? Yes or no?
No. As an expert witness, I have not acted unethically. And if you want the jury to believe that expert witnesses are unethical, then I guess that's for them to decide.
Yes
that's
or no,
for them
sir.
to decide.
You said no. Let's go to the next question.
Joining us today is Law and Crime analyst Dina Dahl, co-host Terry Austin, and Law and Crime Zone Jesse Weber. Dina, I actually thought that Dr. Spiegel's direct had some merit, but that was all seemed to be overshadowed by his attitude on cross. Did you get the same feeling?
I did. I mean, how he acted on cross, he was so argumentative to the point that I thought he appeared unprofessional, and it completely discounted what I thought was also possibly a good direct for Amber Heard, to the point that he didn't know why he wasn't willing to answer the questions about whether or not it was unethical. It was odd. It was very argumentative, and I think it destroyed his whole testimony.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 50% of 20% of his practice. I did the math. It's only 10% of his practice. Maybe that's the issue. Terry, evasive when answering direct questions, his descriptions of traits and diagnosis somehow reminded me of Heard explaining donations and pledges. So who did this witness help?
Well, I think overall the witness did not help Heard's case. He was called for Heard's case, of course, and I agree so much with Dina. On direct, he was much better. He wasn't arguing. He laid out some facts. But on cross-examination, we did see that there is a distinction between just listing traits and giving a diagnosis. And he had to admit he didn't do a diagnosis. He did not look at depth. He just listed traits, which may or may not be related to this intimate violence. And so I definitely think he was not that helpful. And I think that on cross-examination, Heard's team definitely lost. And I think Depp's team definitely won some points there.
All right, Jesse, as two gentlemen who have IFBs or feeding information to us, I know this came up during the testimony. Dr. Spiegel had a lot to say about Depp, but now he's not going to take the stand. Depp isn't testifying. So how is that going to affect Heard's counterclaim?
Well, here's the thing, right? The counterclaims are asserting that Adam Waldman, Johnny Depp's attorney, was making all these public statements, calling her allegations a hoax, and that this was defamation. The thing that we didn't get from Adam Waldman, because there was only so much he could testify due to the attorney-client privilege, is how much did Johnny Depp authorize him to make these statements? So calling Johnny Depp to the stand, we might have gotten some indication. Did he tell Adam Waldman to do this or not? And for the fact that he has not taken the stand, the fact that he will not be called, now the jury, will they be able to make that connection to find the counterclaim? Maybe by inference, maybe they'll think he authorized Adam Waldman to make it, but that's the missing piece here. And it might be difficult now for Amber Heard to be successful in those counterclaims if they don't get that confirmation from Johnny Depp.
Yeah, it makes you think, was this about being a court a public opinion or a court of law? What are they trying to get at if they can't reach that basic standard that you laid out so beautifully for us, Jesse? Well, Jesse, thank you as always for the great reporting. We'll see you next time. Coming up on Law and Crime Daily, we take a closer look at day 20 of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. Heard's team calls an expert orthopedic surgeon to testify about the severed finger injury. Does Johnny Depp's story line up with a doctor's opinion? Welcome back. The Johnny Depp v. Amber Heard defamation trial enters its final stretch, with the first witness of the final week being an orthopedic surgeon who told jurors Depp's story of how his finger was severed doesn't line up with his review of the injury and the x-rays.
Did Mr. Depp's finger injury happen as a result of a vodka bottle being thrown at him?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
I'm sorry.
No. The medical data is inconclusive. It's not consistent with what we see in the described injury pattern or in the clinical photographs. And there are several elements. There's the description was of the hand being flat on a bar and the bottle crushing the finger from the top. But looking at the images, there's really no significant injury to the dorsum of the finger, and to create the type of injury with that type of a crush injury, we would anticipate both injury to the fingernail and other parts of the finger.
In the statements of Mr. Depp that you reviewed, how did he describe what happened to the alleged bottle when it hit the bar?
I believe he said it exploded, shattered.
If a bottle had exploded near his finger in the way that he alleges, what would you expect to see in the documents that you have reviewed?
Well, I think that the physicians did a good job of documenting the presentation, the appearance of the wound. They did not document the presence of any glass shards, and there were no other associated injuries elsewhere on the hand.
All right, Dina, so just peeling apart from what he said, we can't say if it was a knife or a bottle. So what's the takeaway from this witness for the jury?
I don't think this witness was all that helpful because, again, he's this paid expert evaluating it. But he wasn't the doctor who was treating him. And he, kind of admitted to not looking at all the photographs. And also, he was treated actually in a foreign country where maybe the note-taking could also be a little bit different. So for him to he couldn't definitively say what caused the injury. Another thing, actually, a viewer in the lunch hour pointed out was the fact that Johnny Depp wrote on the wall afterwards, which could have changed the appearance of the finger by the time we got medical care. I think that was kind of a really interesting point. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is he wasn't the one who cared for it, and he didn't really know how the note-taking in Australia doctors were like.
Yeah, with Terry, with all what Dina is saying, with Heard's team running low on time and the judge swearing she'll stick to that time limit, was this a smart witness to have?
Well, I do think now the judge is probably going to stick to that time limit because I think the attorneys are trying to abide by that, but we'll see what happens. But yes, it was a waste of time. I think that Dr. Moore wasn't very definitive. And again, Camille did a great cross-examination. She definitely made it very clear that this was not a doctor, like Dina said, who had any sort of personal knowledge about what occurred. He never examined Depp himself. And the best point that Camille did was the fact that the fingers were over that rail, not just laying flat. Great point.
Yeah, and he can't tell us one way or the other. So is the juice worth the squeeze, so to speak, in terms of this witness? We'll see when the jury makes their decision. When we come back, who is Camille Vasquez? Following a strong cross-examination of Amber Heard, Depp's attorney takes center stage in the case. We take a closer look at her role in the trial. Welcome back to Law and Crime Daily. We're taking a closer look now at one of the key players in the Johnny Depp v. Amber Heard trial, who has recently taken the internet by storm. Law and Crime Network's Sierra Gillespie joins us now to explain who Camille Vasquez is and what her relationship is with client Johnny Depp.
The world was introduced to Camille Vasquez during her opening statement for Depp.
And the truth will come out in this trial.
But Vasquez really made her mark with the cross-examination of Amber Heard.
This was a multi-day assault that took place over 3 horrible days.
Ms. Heard,
it's the worst thing ever happened to me.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question.
Entertainment attorney Mitra Ahurian says Vasquez asked the right questions in the right way.
I think she really stepped up during cross-examination of Amber Heard, and everything we saw about her was good lawyering. She came in with the right attitude, the right confidence, and really had what we call good control of the witness. And that's key when you're trying to get your narrative across, is making sure that you're controlling the testimony of the witness so that they're not veering off into the version of the story that they want to tell.
Law and Crime legal analyst Dina agrees, saying Vasquez was a standout on cross.
Camille Vasquez did an excellent job on her cross-examination. I mean, that's a really hard cross-examination to do. You're cross-examining somebody who's alleging domestic violence. It's a very serious allegation. But yet she has to ask these really tough questions to be an advocate for her lawyer. That's a very fine line. And I thought she was perfect. I can't see anybody having done it better. She was firm. She was really great with the type of questions, just the style of her questioning. I thought that it was so effective that I don't know how Amber Heard, quite frankly, could come back from the cross that she did.
Experts say the female direction in this case is likely a strategic move.
It's probably not a coincidence that they had the 2 females cross-examine the 2 females. I think they just don't like that image of a man cross-examining a woman on these very sensitive topics of domestic violence.
And what about that noticeable friendship between Depp and Vasquez?
We can't ignore the beautiful chemistry her and Johnny have together in the courtroom. That's really lovely to watch.
But is the relationship something more?
I don't think they necessarily have a relationship. I have a lot of clients that I've represented for a really long time that I'm very affectionate towards and I care about. And when they're going through an emotional time, part of what you are, as one of my clients calls me, consigliere. Like, part of it is you're a counselor.
Law and Crime Network has reached out to Camille Vasquez for a comment but hasn't heard back yet. She and attorney Benjamin Chu are expected to present closing arguments for Depp this Friday. Reporting for Law and Crime Network, I'm Sierra Gillespie.
Thanks, Sierra. Dina, you touched on this a bit in the story, but let's dig a little deeper. How do female attorneys play such a large role in this trial, and why is that so important?
You know, it may be this outdated stereotype, but they certainly, lawyers are certainly aware of how they are going to be perceived by the jury. And so they don't want to appear as if they are, attacking a female victim who is, alleging something that's really disturbing. And so they will often use a female attorney to do that questioning in a way to maybe try to not make it look like there's this man attacking this woman. Again, whether or not this is this outdated sexist notion, it does happen for strategic reasons.
Do not think it is outdated at all. I would never, personally, as a 6'4", 200-plus black man, come hard and cross-examine Amber Heard. Definitely I'll let Dina or Terry do it. Terry, I don't think it will happen based on seniority and the fact that she did the opening statement. But if you had the choice, would you put Camille Vasquez in place of doing the closing arguments?
Well, absolutely. And I think what they are going to do is split it like they did with the opening. I do think that when Camille did part of that opening, she wasn't as strong. She did get her legs when she did that cross-examination. And actually, I think all three of the attorneys for Depp are excellent. I think Ben Chu has a role there. I think Wayne Dennison, even though he is not as strong in my opinion, I think all three of them have had their part in making this so far successful. The star, the breakout star, no doubt about it, is Camille. And I think she will have a stronger voice when she does this closing. And I think she will help them pull it all together. So if I were them, I would have her do the closing and maybe, at the end of the day, be the last voice that anyone can hear at this trial as far as Depp's team is concerned.
All right, so Dina likes her, Terry likes her, I likes her, but the major question is, does the jury? We'll find out as we continue. Thank you for joining us here on Law and Crime Daily. We'll see you next time as we discuss justice in America.